All right, so we're welcome back, and we're gonna head off in the video number two where we actually start our questing. So we've created our character. We are a human champion, and we're gonna be from. Oh, someone took that name. Oh, well, let's do this. Let's do. Uh, yeah, let's do this. Let's be from Rohan, and we'll be Bernie Rick. There we go. All right, so here we are. We got our level one champion, and we're gonna go ahead and enter Middle Earth. And so while we're waiting for the good old loading screens, I am playing this, or I'm recording this as I'm playing. So if I tend to say, I know I tend to say a lot of ums and ahs, so bear with me. Um, I don't have the best PC, so the quality of the videos, it's not going to be 1080p. I can pretty much tell you that. Um, I tried streaming and streaming to Twitch. I thought maybe streaming to Twitch would be a little bit easier, but the quality of the video was so poor that I decided to just go ahead and record these and put them up on YouTube. I think the final, from my initial testing, the final videos are probably going to be 720p. Okay, I'll go ahead and. Okay, so here you are. You're on your initial login screen, your initial screen, and the first thing they're going to show you is these are going to be your tutorial windows. And now as we go through from levels 1 to 10, these are going to pop up all the time. And I would highly recommend reading them. Basically, what they're going to do is they're going to tell you about the gameplay mechanics. So to move forward, use W. Move back, use S. To turn left, use turn right, use D, and to turn left, use A. So these are going to be your basic movement things. So the first thing I like to do when I enter an MMO and is kind of get a feel for the interface. Okay, so here's our character, and we have it looks like 130 morale and 50 of our resource. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. So basically, all MMOs, I won't say all MMOs, most MMOs, MMORPGs, work off of a resource system. And you have two main resources that you need to be concerned with. Your health, which is usually the top one. I think it's called morale in Lotro. And that's basically when that gets down to zero, your character dies. So you want to kind of keep looking at that, and as you take damage, this bar up here is going to start going down. So you're going to want to watch that. The second um, resources, I'm just going to cheat a little bit and figure past power. Okay. Uh, every MMO calls it something different, so I tend to get them confused at times. Anyways, is your power. So your power is it's basically a resource, um, and it's going to dictate what abilities you can use. Now, if you look down here, this is your ability bar, and these are things that are activated by a button click. So the first ability I have as a champion is Blade Wall. So it's a melee skill, which means I got to be close to the target. It's max target, so it strikes up to 5 people. Um, it's, it strikes up to 5 targets in a 5 meter radius, so that's pretty decent. So, oh, I didn't mean to do that. We're gonna watch Strider. So that's about, I would say, this is about 5 meters. So you gotta be pretty close in order to use it. Um, So it's a frontal AoE attack, so that means it's going to do damage. You know, frontal AoE means frontal area of attack, and there are two types of attacks. There's what we call a single target attack, which is an attack or ability that only works on one person or one one bad guy. And AoE is area of effect, which means it works on anyone within a given radius or a given area, and allowing you to attack multiple targets, or allowing you to, let's say if you're a healer, to heal multiple targets. So frontal AoE meaning that, so max target's 5, so I can have up to 5 people in front of me within 5 meters, so probably within, well, let's just say that little circle right there. And it's going to be a harmful spell, and it's going to do 5 to 6 damage, and it costs 2 power. The thing, this whole kind of exercise is all about what does it cost? So 2 power. So when I click on this ability, it's going to, my blue bar here is going to go down to 48. And that's what I mean by your resource, is if this attack, Blade Wall cost, let's say 45 power, I know I can only press that one time, and that's going to take a whole bunch of energy away from me, and it's going to prevent me from doing something else. Now, in Lotro and in most games, you you have health regeneration and you have resource regeneration. And as you're doing battle, your resource will regenerate. In most MMOs, your resource regenerates a little bit at a time, so that you're always able to kind of, do your abilities. Um, the whole reason I kind of bring up this mechanic is it's a way, it's a balancing act. So when you choose to do an ability, you have to understand how much it's going to cost. If you're going to, if you're going to choose to do an ability with a really high cost, let's say 25 energy, you have to know kind of in the back of your head, it's like, okay, I start out with 50, I'm going to do something that costs 25. That's only going to leave me 25 left to kind of do the rest of the stuff I need to do. It's as you kind of start to explore, and as you go out, it might not, you might not understand it all right now, but kind of as you start going out and you start doing, you'll see what I mean. So real quickly, the a couple things they're talking about here is how to move your camera. So if you see, I hold my right mouse button down, I can move my character. If I hold my left mouse button down, I move the camera so I can turn it. How to interact with objects in the world. So here's a satchel, I want to loot it. I right click on it, and you can see I'm opening it up. Now I've opened this up, and I'm going to take all these items. So the items, and it talks about here, goes into your inventory, which you access by pressing I, and then you have a character window, which you access by pressing C. So let's take a look at this real quick. Okay, well, I'll talk about quests a little bit later. Okay. Alright, so this is your character. So here's your base stats. If you mouse over, they'll explain all these in a lot more detail than I'm going to kind of go over. But your morale is basically your health. How much damage you can take before you die. Your power is your energy resource, like I was talking about earlier. Your health being your main resource is about how you're going to live, and your energy being what you can do, what type of ability you can do, and how many times you can do it. Your might is increases your physical strength and your parry rating. Your agility, your crit rating and evasion. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about these. So parry, if I attack Strider as a champion or as a melee character, I'm going to be facing my target, and my target's going to be facing me. Well, he's got two swords and he's going to be swinging them at me. Parry is a way to avoid an incoming attack. So instead of him swinging and hitting me, I can parry it, and his swing doesn't do damage. Another mechanic is block, and it's kind of the same thing. If I had a shield, I could block it, so his block doesn't do damage, um, or as much damage, I should say. And in general, um, so you can see here as a champion, might's very important. So I want to kind of as I quest, and I get to choose um, weapons and armor and things like that. I definitely want to choose weapons and armor that have more might, because that's gonna um, it's gonna increase how much damage I do. Yeah. Um, so again, you have might, agility, vitality. Um, is how much how big your health bar is and how fast you regenerate health out of combat. So you don't regenerate health in combat. So as soon as you go into combat, your health bar starts going down every time you get hit. Well, your health bar doesn't, it doesn't grow until you're out of combat. So once you're out of combat, your health bar will start growing again until it gets full. And vitality dictates how big your health bar is and how fast it grows back out of combat. Um, will is it's just resistances or um, and fate is you can see here you got in combat morale regen and out of combat. So okay, so it does look like morale does, or your health does regen a little bit in combat, but not as much as it does out of combat. So I stand corrected. um, your crit rating. So every time you deal damage, you kind of deal a baseline damage, and when you crit, so you deal an extra amount of damage. So let's say your normal attack deals 100 damage. When you crit, you might deal, you know, 250 instead of 100. And then um, your physical mastery increases the amount of damage you do. So again, here's your. I guess this is a good time to. Actually, no, I'm not going to talk about avoidance until later. Um, I don't want to overwhelm you. So you can see how kind of there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to figure out like the best time to talk about everything. So for right now, um, just be aware of that there's two resources you have: your health, which is your morale, and your energy resource, which is power. Abilities cost energy, and they're located down here in your action bar. Our action bar abilities are initiated through button clicks. For instance, by pressing 1, I'll start Blade Wall. Pressing 2, I'll do Swift Strike. As you interact with stuff in the world, to interact with, set things in the world like the satchel, you right click on them. You press I to open up your inventory, which are your bags, and you press C to open up your character menu, which is here. Now, when you get kind of new stuff, you're going to want to, so like right now you can see I have a dull knife equipped. Well, from that satchel I got a rusted longsword and a regular knife. You can see um, the this is where you start to do things like item comparison. So right now I have a dull knife equipped, and you can see I do 0.9 DPS, which is 0.9 damage per second. And I have a 1% critical hit chance. Whereas if I were to equip the Rusted Longsword, my DPS would go up to 2.2, so that's good, and my parry chance is slightly increased. So that's good. So we talked about kind of when you parry an attack, that means you're not being hit by it. So, that's definitely a good thing. So we'll go ahead and equip that. And then we'll go ahead and equip the knife. So now I have a Rusted Longsword and a knife equipped. Go ahead and close these, and so when you see this, the flaming ring, it means you've completed there's a quest available. And again, these are the tutorials, so I definitely would recommend um, reading all of them, or reading through them the first time. Alright, so I initiated the fight by right-clicking, and you can see there, that he's missed. There's a parry, so I didn't get hit. Now, I'm not really doing anything, so as I get hit, there goes my health resource, or morale, starts to go down. And then as I do an ability, so I'm going to do first thing I'm going to do is my blade wall. You can see, boom, there's some damage. I did damage to him. My energy bar went down, and then I did my swift strike, and you kind of saw how those things started moving. All right, so we've done that. So all of this can be a little bit overwhelming, and I apologize. I just kind of wanted to try to give you a kind of a quick overview. Again, this is the main thing. The main thing to take out of this is your resource pool, where you have health and you have power. When your health goes down, go to 0. These are your abilities. As you level up, you're going to gain more abilities. And when you use them, they cost power, and that's your resource. So you're always going to balance what ability to use with how much power it costs. Alright, so to open doors, you right click on them, and let's go and go through the portal. So since I kind of went a little long-winded, I'm going to stop this video here, and we'll do the next one.